I'm going to do a World 2 Simulated Universe run. I've been grinding this while I've been busy with other things. And essentially, in my opinion, March 7th is crazy good for this. And I'm going to talk about her synergies probably a lot in this. But as you can see here, I have her set up right here. Let's go. And yes, I did have the run started and decided to go back and do this. Everything I do is auto. Because I do this in the background right now. So here we go. I picked Remembrance. I remember that. So I'm just going to see what we got here. So we have a follow-up attack hit. Let's just go ahead and do Remembrance. Because it's Freeze. Freeze is nice. And who also freezes? March 7th. Who does follow-up attacks? March 7th. Who has an AoE attack that can freeze? March 7th. Who makes shields? March 7th. So many synergies for so many different things. She is really the MVP. Let's see here. We can basically just go ahead and pick this if we want. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Ice damage on the next enemy. And just keep going.
Watch this awesome move.
And let's see here. Doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and do the shields one though, because we have March 7th and she creates shields. I'm going to go ahead and do combat just so I can get some more things. And I do have reroll unlocked because, as I said, I've been just farming this in the background, so I get the points to spend for upgrading, which is really nice. There we go. We've done that. And let's just grab the debuff removal. I think that's really good. Not that it really matters at this point with this team comp, and you know they're all level 40 right now. It used to matter when I was first doing this. Also, I've been upgrading my relics because you get so many relic upgrade materials from this. Trace upgrade materials. There's her putting out a shield.
Rules are made to be broken.
Alright, there we go. And what do we got here? Well, we're doing Remembrance, so let's just see if there's anything. Here we have a follow-up attack, but whatever, let's do this. And there we go. Now I have the Path Resonance of Remembrance. Ice damage with a chance of freezing. I believe the first time you do World 2, you don't get Remembrances, and you get it after, but they are very powerful. And you can, you know, be careful with which ones you pick and, like, when to activate them. I'm not.
Watch this awesome move.
So this is the elite fight. Some other interesting runs I've had, like, just by clicking stuff. Follow-up attacks do... there's one that links follow-up attacks do a variety of different damage types. But you can also make ultimates count as a follow-up attack. So until you get that, or if you don't get that, because you're putting so many shields out, March 7th will do that with girl power and just constantly hit them with bonus damage. But if you do get ultimates count as follow-up attacks, and it's just a huge increase to damage. And literally I've seen bosses just melt at the end because her follow-up attacks can do like 1.5 thousand, and ultimates do a bunch of extras. Let's just see here. Doesn't really matter. Let's do Remembrance because we're still doing it. I could reset. Could have reset for something that sounded really cool. The reset is really nice to have, but I'll be honest, generally when I'm doing this, I'm not paying attention too much, which is why it's nice to farm in the background. Go ahead and... Another thing I don't have to think about here. And if you are just trying to farm those currencies, what you can do is just look for the things that you haven't used before whenever you defeat an enemy, and just make sure you pick that out. Remembrance is going automatic, just speeds everything up. You can see I've seen all these before, so it doesn't matter. Follow-up attack, effect rate. Effect rate's fine. We still have to upgrade our remembrance, which I'm going ahead and going to probably, while doing this, just kind of AFK, collecting all of those. I don't think they really show up in like the index or anything, so it doesn't really matter.
This awesome move.
Let's see here. We can just go ahead and do all restores health when healing. That's fine.
Freeze.
And you can re-roll after all of these if you're really like worried about getting good synergies, or you're desperately looking for a synergy you need, or you're desperately looking for something you haven't unlocked yet, at least used once. You can also re-roll in occurrence stuff. So if you have an occurrence, it's like get a tier 3, you can do that and then re-roll at the end. So like we'll show you here. Let's re-roll. There you go. So high chance of getting a shield at the end of the turn. Enemy is frozen. Next one attack, receive, or crit. We'll just do the shield though, because it works with March 7th, because she will do a follow-up attack on those that get hit that have a shield. So it's nice to just have shield generation. If you want to read these, you can do it on your own time. Obtain a blessing for every encounter. Yeah, so I'll just do the combat. It doesn't matter. This is a great one with March 7th, but we'll go ahead and do the remembrance. Actually, let's refresh. That was bad. Draw more? Sure. There we go. And we'll just take this remembrance, whatever. There we go. So now we get to do this resonance here. Which ones haven't I seen? I haven't done these two yet. So I can reduce the freeze res, or I can regenerate. Let's just go with this. Doesn't really matter. Yep, I'll draw more cards. It's 90% chance. Who cares? And that's the failure text. And as you can see, it's basically 2 elite, so it is kind of a... It can be a tough one, but... And yes, having the healer is really useful. I did some of these without this healer, and I was just doing shields. I would prioritize, like, shield generation. Partly because March 7th just gets a bunch of free attacks from it, but also I was living off of that instead of my life more than I am now. And also, you can take the Trailblazer, and with the Trailblazer, you can heal outside of battle. Trailblazer is also really nice when I run this, because if I'm trying to get, like, when I was trying to get, like, the more rare stuff, there's the one occurrence where you can, like, remove 80% of your team's life. You can just heal them back up, so that was pretty nice. And I do use all the abilities before the final boss. Sometimes I do it before an elite, but honestly, I just don't waste the time. Generally, it doesn't matter. I'm AFKing as much as possible.
The sanctuary is but a vision.
And of course, there's wasted turns like that when it's automated, right? Like, you didn't need to put a shield up, but who cares? So, after character use an ultimate, a random... yeah, sure. That's... why not? And we'll go ahead and face the elite. I'll go ahead and use the buffs that I normally would for the final boss. Just, I do this, and then I do... oh, that was the wrong one. I meant to switch to this. I missed one. And then March 7th again. Of course, she has this. I'll use that because it synergizes so well with so much stuff. We haven't gotten anything crazy. Like, if you get a lot of, for example, follow-up stuff, March 7th at this point even can do like over 1,000 damage easy in a follow-up attack. This, if anything, has been a bad run.
vision. Break.
Try that again.
And these don't really matter. Like the auto battling can be annoying when there's like a large bunch of enemies like that. But again, we have remembrances now, so pop doesn't matter too much. Also, of course, we have March 7th, who is AoE damage. And if you have ultimates count as follow-up, and you have follow-up, for example, doing that like large swath of random elemental damage, all of those enemies get hit with that. Or if you have freeze damage affects neighboring enemies and March 7th uses her ability, then you're getting some enemies that are basically getting triple hit with that. And Remembrance again. And of course, all those little enemies, they affect, you know, get health when you kill an enemy, or any of the other buffs when you defeat an enemy. So in a lot of ways, bosses that have them actually help you. The final boss of World 2 actually ends up hurting itself because it has the side enemies. It's normally more of a problem for them than it is for you. There we go, battle's over. And here we go. So this is one I generally pay attention to. The one on the right is really good. After attacking a frozen enemy, you get disassociation, which means we'll be able to act for a designated number of turns. And we have Quake. The attacking enemy deals Quake damage based on the current shield. It doesn't really matter. Let's just go with... Let's reset, actually. Let's see what we get. Show you the reroll here. This is Special Shield is really good when you're doing follow-up stuff. And here's characters' ultimates are considered follow-up attacks. That's pretty nice. I'll just take the extra shields. And I think I also missed it, but in like each area there's generally something you can shoot for some extra expending. I might as well stop here. Sometimes I even skip Herta if I'm doing well enough. There we go. So these get upgraded.
What was that?
It's so nice. It's okay. Do the let's reset. Reset, why not? We have encounter question mark or occurrence. Let's do encounter, why not? It's probably going to be like an elite fight right before this resting period. Join the challenge and achieve victory within 4 turns. Again, I'm not going to have any problem because the synergies are just so nice with March 7th. And even without getting as many good ones as I'd like, there's March 7th's follow-up attack. That counts as a follow-up attack. I believe I took that one.
Watch this awesome move.
Look at the res effect hitting him.
Try that again.
And the shield one's really good too, because you can easily stack shield with a few follow-up bonuses, because if you have March 7th as shields, like giving extra damage or anything like that, or enemies get shield, and then you have follow-up damage stacked, they're all going to get hit with that from her.
You can't run.
And there's ice damage hits multiple enemies. I have that on this run, I forgot about that. So that means that her ultimate's now hitting the main boss in the middle 3 times with lesser damage, but
You can't run. Watch
right
this
here.
awesome move. You bully. What's in your prescription? Phew.
And her automatically putting up a shield isn't really, in my opinion, like a wasted turn, because it's a shield
Try that again.
that does a follow-up attack.
The sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
Battle over. And now we get to pick here. Let's just take... When disassociation removed from enemies, there are a chance for them to become frozen. Shielded enemies do attack damage based on their current shield. We'll take that. We have that other shield talent. Doesn't really matter. Shoot that. This is going to be for the final boss, so... Now we get to upgrade here. And what do we upgrade? Well, we don't have the points. If you did, I generally just take the level 3s.
Crash
So I don't have to think
now
about
or
it.
Crash later.
Go ahead here, do
This will
this,
A little
this,
something for everyone.
and March 7th, do this.
You can't run.
And both of these are weak to ice, which yet again, World 2, March 7th is great.
Here. Watch this awesome move.
That was 1,000 damage. Flip between two, but
Try that again.
it's really hard to build synergies in this that don't have March 7th benefiting greatly.
The sanctuary is but a vision. Break! Rules are made to be broken.
So for example, if we had the upgrade there where follow-up attacks deal the random damage, his attack would have hit, if we had that in addition, it would have hit all three, and then the random attacks that were ice would also bounce around. It can do a lot. And when you're doing random elemental damage, any teammate can freeze, and that also synergizes really well.
It's but a vision. Break!
It really made it so it's hard to have, like, bad synergies in this, in my opinion. Maybe that'll change when we have, like, World 3 and we have more characters. That, like, we unlock the Eons, where they are, what they're called exactly, and they get, like, more things we can roll. Maybe then it'll be worse, but as of World 2, you don't really have to care. You can, and you can do that. I was using under-leveled characters and running through this for a while when I was busy and I didn't have time to play otherwise. This just gives me the longest amount of time that I can just AFK. Semi-AFK. This fight's the longest I can AFK. I would literally do this and then get up and do other things and come back for the win.
The sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
And as long as you get to round 2, I mean, as long as you're not about to be defeated, it doesn't really matter. And of course, yeah, I have the 5-star healer, which is not everyone's gonna have, but it's not necessary.
Watch this awesome move. What's in your prescription?
I'd say the best part about the 5-star healer I'm using, that particular healer, is her ability to revive a teammate who faints, but at the same time, they're not fainting. So
Try that again.
here we go.
The sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
And of course you get some dumb attacks like that sometimes, but it's not a big deal. This is, as I said, this is rather slow. Generally I was getting better synergies than this on average by a lot.
Rules are made to be broken.
Watch this awesome move.
And as you can imagine, if you were picking the attacks and like timing things right with these AoEs and these like that hit there, like you don't have to deal with any of the trash mobs they put out.
Try that again. You can't run.
The sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
Try that again.
Yeah. Oh, here comes a big March 7th hit in a second.
Watch this awesome move.
Jeez. There's my rewards.
You couldn't have done it without me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, honestly, to run with March 7th in this right now. I'm hoping that keeps up in other simulated universes because she's a starter character, but I guess we'll see.